Welcome back to the Center in the City podcast. I'm your host, Wade Brill, and I am so glad you are here. Today is a solo episode, and we are talking about slowing down the summer, permission to pause. I do a episode like this every year for the last few years because what I've started to notice, especially here in the Pacific Northwest, is once summer hits, once the weather starts to get nice, like it has been for the last few weeks, right around solstice, right before July 4th, there is this energy that shifts in the city where it just goes from let's be inside to like let's go outside and let's be out till really late and let's nonstop do things and let's go to this outdoor bar and let's go sit on this rooftop and let's go up to these islands and let's do this hike and then let's camp here. And oh my God, I'm just exhausted thinking about it. But summertime in general, wherever you are, offers such a beautiful opportunity to play, right? School's out for the summer. Energy is present, not for just kids, but for adults too. And even if you are a parent whose kid is out of school and you're in that in-between space where they haven't started camp yet and you don't know what to do with them, or you're watching them 24/7 and it's just exhausting, even though you love it, there's still this internal switch that happens of they're on summer break. Maybe I get to loosen the rules a little bit, or the rules start to shift, or they're a little older. And so now that this freedom's happening, how do I spend my time? How do I notice my energy shifts as the season takes place? Now, this is where my framework of balance comes into place because I think around this summertime energy, it can be like this volcano of energy, just blasting off of energy. And then come September, it's like, oh, I'm so exhausted. I'm ready for more structure. I'm ready for cooler days. I'm ready to go back inside. And I think that energy fluctuation of boom or bust is what creates a lot of drain in our system. And so today we're going to talk about permission to pause, like permission to enjoy the summer fully and authentically, and also permission to find a pace that feels good to you. So let's settle in and let's get centered. I shared this on my social media the other day where I had this ping. It was a Friday night. It was a beautiful summer evening. And I had flashbacks to living in New York City where it was like one of those perfect nights where you'd sit outside on the street and you'd people watch, and then you would grab some ice cream and just walk on the street and people watch and just like enjoy the warm air and the energy of summer, of people being out and about. And so my heart was yearning for that memory, that nostalgia, that sense of comfort and community and joy. And yet I was sitting at home on a Friday night, beautiful summer evening, and I had no plans. My friends were all busy. It was kind of a last minute, like just kind of creeped up on me that it was Friday and I had no plans. And it was a really interesting experience. At first, I sat with myself and I felt kind of bad for myself. Like I was like, oh, wow, I'm such a loser. Why don't I have plans? Everybody else is doing something cool. I am at home. And I just started to notice this spiraling out. And I paused myself when I started to spiral out, gave myself a little love tap of just like, oh, you're going down that road that leads to nowhere. And I practiced one of my mindful moments from my new book, 100 Mindful Moments to Balance and Energize. It's in the mindset section where I practice turn FOMO, fear of missing out. So I was having this fear of missing out. Everybody is having fun on a Friday summer night without me. to MOFO, mindful of future opportunities. And what I mean by that is I took this moment of spiraling of woe is me, everybody's doing something cool, I'm not cool, I'm lonely, I'm stuck at home, to switching my mindset to mindful of future opportunities. And I took that deep breath and I reminded myself there are so many other summer evenings to enjoy. And right now, I get to be with myself and I get to savor this time of staying home and slowing down. And this was so huge for me because within 30 seconds, a minute, even less than a minute, maybe even less than 30 seconds, I was able to snap out of this spiral and open my heart back up to being present and thinking of, oh yeah, there's so many future opportunities to enjoy, that it allowed me to come back to the present moment and choose, okay, how do I want to enjoy this moment? And so I made a really yummy bubble bath. I started watching the most recent season 1 of Sex and the City from whatever their new spinoff is called. I never jumped on the bandwagon a few years ago. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to start this and see how it is. Even just tapping into some New York City culture and nostalgia was satisfying enough for me in that moment. And this is an example of how we can, I say we, as in our human brains, our human minds can so easily want to fight with reality. And we can say, this isn't how the night should go or the day should go. These weren't my expectations, or this isn't what I want. But when we get right with reality, right, when we can accept reality, so accepting that, yeah, I'm home alone on a Friday night, no plans, and to find the joy and the choice in that versus this woe is me story is very empowering. And to be honest, it inspired me to record this podcast episode because I want to emphasize how actually having a slow evening with no plans to veg out was so enjoyable. And I get to remind myself that there are future fun engagements to be had. But if I was just having pure fun out and about every night this summer, I know I would be exhausted. I know I would be in a horrible mood. I know I wouldn't feel good in my body. And I know that wouldn't serve my higher, greater self. So let me savor this time of spaciousness. That's one of the reasons I love hosting summer intention workshops and facilitating the summer of self-care group coaching programs, because I think the summer energy is so intoxicating. It is like slurping on the best mocktail cocktail out there, right? It's refreshing, it's sweet, it's tangy, it's fresh. It's got all of the things that dance my tongue and feel good in my body. And yet, if we just slurp it up and slurp it up fast, it gives us a headache. It gives us a stomach ache. It doesn't feel good, or we're not present to it and we want more and more and more and more until we feel like complete crap. That's what I was referring to earlier, of this like boom and bust energy that I think can happen in the summertime. So in order to think about your own needs and your own wants, I think it'd be really helpful to do your own energy audit so that you're not making plans or overscheduling yourself, because that can happen sometimes in response to not wanting to feel bored, not wanting to feel alone, not wanting to just feel, or not wanting to have to think about what I want to do. So sometimes when we can get into overscheduling, over planning mode, that can happen. And I think the real work, and what I feel so passionate about supporting my clients with in our mindfulness practice, is that when we strengthen our mindfulness muscles, we are learning how to build our capacity to be with whatever is in the present moment. So whether that's loneliness, whether that's grief, whether that's pleasure, whether that's joy, maybe all of that's there like a cocktail. And so we have the capacity to meet the moment head on instead of being delusional, instead of being in an overstriving mentality where we miss what's here. Having dinner with a friend the other week and we were catching up. We hadn't had some one-on-one time in a while. And I was asking how she was doing. And she was saying, dealing with a lot of work stuff and some family stuff. And finding that balance, knowing that she was working a lot, but it kind of felt like her choice. There's just so much work to be done and trying to find the balance of how much work feels like enough right now, which I know is such a relatable topic to listeners. And she then mentioned, I've also been really social, like probably too social. And that was really interesting to me that she recognized that, because being social is so important for our humanness, right? We are social animals. Even if you are somebody who is more introverted, being social in a way that feels good to you is still important. It's still a basic nutrient for us. And so noticing she was maybe a little too social, right? It's when we start to go into a zone that starts to be maybe over what we have capacity for, over what we feel like is actually serving ourselves. And so when we can strengthen our mindfulness muscles, it builds this ability to be aware and also practice discernment of what's too much, what's too little, practicing the Goldilocks rule, right? To be present to what need is there and how much is that need getting met. So even practicing this little energy audit right now, tune into yourself and notice, where is your energy right now? Are you feeling elevated and are you feeling alive? And it's coming from a place of like growth and connection. Or are you feeling elevated and it feels like it's coming from more of an overactivated nervous system? Are you feeling exhausted? Just like maybe it's not just that you didn't sleep well last night, but your just inner system is feeling really wiped out. Like the idea of talking just feels draining. Are you feeling maybe a little bit more neutral? Maybe a little even disconnected from, what is my energy right now? What am I feeling? And then you can even think of, what is this energy spectrum between all of the places that I just mentioned? When you start to sharpen this awareness of your internal energy map, it helps you then think about, what action do I want to take? Okay, I'm actually craving being around friends, and that feels really life-giving to me, not from a need of overdoing, but from just this organic, I have a lot to give and want to connect. Okay, that tells me, you know what? I get to make some more social plans this week or in the coming week. I notice I have just been pushing and met a couple deadlines and can just feel zapped. That is like some deep permission to be horizontal on the couch. I have another mindful moment in the renewal section of the book that is all about like permission to be lazy, because laziness sometimes can feel like such a negative word, but sometimes that's really what we need. We need permission to do nothing. Now, the summertime happens to be at this halfway point in the year where we have 6 months of the calendar year to go. And so it can also be a really helpful time to reflect on, what do I want to celebrate from the first 6 months of the year? What do I want to acknowledge? What's worked well? What feed forward would I give myself? Is there anything that I have a regret over that I want to make amends with or make right with myself for the next 6 months? If you have done my intention setting workshop, or you followed along with some of the prompts I offer on my blog for the beginning of the year in creating a power intention, this is a really great time to check in and note, how are you living this power intention? How is it coming alive? Did you completely forget about it? Are you actively practicing it? Is it being influenced in your decision making or your thoughts? And I really welcome you to use the summer energy for reflection, because it then allows you to enter the fall with this feeling, this greater feeling of intention, and that you have a sense of connection to your focus. Instead of what I see a lot at the end of the summer and the beginning of fall, it's kind of like that wobbly feeling of, this transition feels really hard. I don't really know where to put my focus and attention. I love how every season really offers us a flavor of how to reflect and connect to ourselves more deeply. I remember a yoga teacher I had years and years ago, pre-pandemic. During the summer, most of her flows that she would teach in class ended up being more restorative or really more slow vinyasa flows. And it was very interesting because I used to always assume, it's the summer. Shouldn't we go fast and like meet this energy of the summer, this heat? But actually, we want to create the inverse. We want to create a little bit more cooling in our systems, because the world out there, the weather out there, the energy out there in the summertime is heat and fast and speed. So it's a balance of how do we stay in relationship to the summer go, go, go energy, even though there's also a lot of play and freedom. I also think the summer is a really great time in tapping into this kind of playful, spacious, schools out vibe to think about, what's something new you want to do or try? What's a way that you could leave your comfort zone in a safe way? Is there a new art class or dance class you want to do? Is there a new hobby you want to try? Is there a new place you want to travel? Is there a new hike or type of fitness or adventure activity that has been calling your attention? For me, I'm still in my biking Barbie era. And if you're like, Wade, what the hell does biking Barbie mean? I did a whole podcast episode on it. And I'm biking everywhere as a way of commuting, as a way of adventure, as a way of play. And I would say in the last month or so, what I've really been stepping into is even challenging my comfort level to bike to new places by myself. That always felt a little more stretchy for me, but I'm really embodying that sense of courage of I can do it. And even I can take my bike on the bus. I can travel with my bike, and feeling more empowered by being a biker in the city. I also am challenging myself this summer to go to more networking events. I felt like I had this energy to do it maybe a month or so ago when I got back from traveling and was really excited to reconnect to the Seattle community. And I feel like that started to really dwindle this last month. And so that's something I really want to commit back to, is getting myself out of my comfort zone, meeting new people, mingling, trying new activities, signing up for those events or those classes that also get to be a way to network and connect to community. I would love to hear from you. What is a way that you want to expand your comfort zone or learn something new this summer? And how do you want to be mindful of managing your energy this summer? When you notice you're overextending, overexerting yourself, how do you want to recognize that and bring yourself back? If you're maybe underextending yourself, you're keeping yourself locked up in the house or feeling really low energy and maybe want a little bit more oomph, what does that get to look like for yourself? How do you get to support meeting yourself and the energy that you want to be cultivating and bringing into the summer? I welcome you to share your insights with me. You can reach out in a DM at OneWade on Instagram or send me a note in the show notes. If you haven't already bought my book and want to buy my book, you can head on over to the show notes and check out the link. You can get it on Amazon. You can get it directly from me. You can maybe find it at local bookstores. And this book is really meant to be a guide, a self-care guide to support you taking these mindful moments in your day to care for yourself, to care for your well-being. I welcome you to think of somebody in your life that you'd like to share this episode with, maybe a friend that you notice is overscheduled themselves, or a friend that's looking for a way of how to structure their summer energy. This would be the perfect episode to share. Thanks for being here as always and welcoming me into your ears, your heart, and your mind. It is such an honor and a gift. And until next time, stay centered.